Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Police Off the Cuff, Real Crime Stories. I'm your host, retired NYPD Sergeant Bill Cannon, a 27-year veteran of the NYPD. This case we've been following with baby Emmanuel Haro, who has been missing for quite a long time right now. In the upper part of this thumbnail, you see his parents, Rebecca and Jake Haro, and here's their mugshots there. And this case is not a mystery. It really is not. Initially, when Rebecca tried to report that the baby was kidnapped as she left a football game and went to a store called the Big Five to apparently pick up a mouth guard for her son. And that story was quickly dispelled. And through video, through an interrogation, through questioning Rebecca, investigators determined that that really never, ever happened. So the question still remains, where is baby Emmanuel? Well, Brian Enton from News Nation reported on his channel that an undercover was put in the jail with Jake Haro. And he told the undercover, who was posing as another inmate, that he had killed the child approximately 10 days earlier and disposed of the body in a garbage pail. Now, if that's true, that certainly can be used against him in a court of law with that person being the witness. However, it doesn't help the police or the investigators recover the body of this poor little boy. This poor little boy who undoubtedly had quite a tortured life. So not only there is he feared dead, but officers pretty much believe that he is dead. And early on in this investigation, the story fell apart. The parents of Emmanuel Haro, the 7-month-old child who's been missing for nearly 2 weeks, appeared in a California court yesterday after they were charged with the baby's murder. Jake Haro, 32 years old, and Rebecca Renee Haro, 41, were arrested at their residence at Cabazon for the murder of Emmanuel. The two have been charged with murder and making a false police report, according to the Riverside County District Attorney's Office. Emmanuel Haro was reported missing on August 14th at approximately 7:47 p.m. Local time, after his mother reported being attacked outside a retail store on Ucapa Boulevard, according to the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Office. They said that in a statement on August 15th. This is all according to ABC News. The parents appeared in court with public defenders representing the mother and father for less than 5 minutes on Tuesday, with a $1 million bail set for both. Their arraignment will continue on September 4th. While the child has not yet been located by officials, he's presumed dead, and authorities are now searching for his remains. On Sunday, officials conducted another search for the 7-month-old along the westbound shoulder of the 60 freeway near Gilman Springs Road in Moreno Valley, with the father of the child and cadaver dogs accompanying detectives. That search concluded after Emmanuel was not located. Back when Emmanuel was originally reported missing, his mother told officials that she stood outside her vehicle changing the child's diaper, and she was physically assaulted by an unknown male and rendered unconscious. When she woke up, the child was gone. That's according to officials. Once on the scene, scent tracking dogs were deployed, but the 7-month-old was not located. The sheriff's department interviewed multiple individuals regarding the disappearance, including the child's parents. Since then, officials noted that they've conducted extensive searches in the areas of Ucapa and Cabazon and have also served several search warrants at the Haro home. Authorities also previously said they were reviewing a large amount of surveillance video from the area of arrest. So, in an interview with Los Angeles KABC prior to arrest, Rebecca Haro described her son as a happy boy and begged him, whoever has a son, to give him back to me. So, this story is really bad, and we've seen these stories before, uh, and they never end well, obviously. And while ending well, we know, according to authorities, according to investigators, that little Emmanuel is most likely dead. Now, whether they find his remains or not, these two, Jake and Rebecca, will be charged with murder. So, can the authorities get a conviction without a body? And the answer is yes. On what we refer to as circumstantial evidence, from which inferences are drawn. So, folks, hold on to your hats, hold on to your loved ones, hold on to your theories, hold on to your thoughts. You're about to enter true crime from a police perspective. You're about to enter the off the cuff zone, the police off the cuff zone.
There has to be some common sense.
They were the ones who called 911 to get him help, and now they're calling for change.
And now a word from our sponsor. FanDuel is the newest sponsor of the Police Off the Cuff podcast on the Believe Network. On Tuesday, August 26th, it's FanDuel Futures Day, a new holiday for football fans. And that, of course, is a great holiday because football fans love to bet. It's 24 hours of deals on all your football season predictions, so take a flyer on the MVP race. Who's your pick for the MVP? Crown your champion in August. Who are you picking to win the Super Bowl this year? Or parlay your division winner dark horses. Mark your calendars. This is your day for your hunches, your hot takes, your calls, and your odds. Visit the FanDuel app today and start planning your futures bets now, because Futures Day is one day and one day only. FanDuel, play your game. You must be 21 plus and present in select states for canvas and affiliation with Kansas Star Casino, or 18 plus and present in D.C., Kentucky, or Wyoming. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit FanDuel.com/RG. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Chat in Connecticut or visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 1-800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts, or call 1-877-8-HOPE-NEW YORK or text HOPE New York in New York. So, folks, FanDuel, the newest sponsor of Police Off the Cuff. So, getting back to this story, of course, it is a horrific story, and the parents are undoubtedly are complicit in this. I think everyone knows that, but everyone still questions what and how did they get rid of the body, and where is the young boy's body? And of course, we all want the young boy recovered, because that gives us, well, never, I don't like to use the word closure, but that gives us an idea that the investigators are 100%, 1000% correct in what they feel in regards to this investigation. This is Banfield.
Shepherd, he's a digital journalist who goes by the handle Just in the Nick of Crime. Okay, Justin, so much to cover. First of all, the couple in court, describe the demeanor. What was the vibe in there, especially between them?
Yeah, well, as you know, like you said earlier, they pushed back the court hearing. So it was very, very brief today. We only had about 5 minutes. And, you know, for the most part, they were both very quiet. You couldn't really get too much of a read on them. But, I mean, it was pretty quiet and pretty brief.
5 minutes, holy cow. I get it, though, right? If they're going to push the arraignment, what else do you need to be there for? So you and I and pretty much everyone in the world saw Jake in his orangey red jumpsuit being trotted out next to Highway 60. I guess it was on Sunday. And the idea is, we didn't have audio on that, but the presumption is he's out there helping authorities to find the body. Maybe he's giving them the directions. Maybe he's pointing the finger at Rebecca and saying, here's where she threw the body. Maybe.
I just think that this guy, Jake Haro, the baby Emmanuel's father, I just think he's a total 100% dirtbag, this guy. He has a history of child abuse, right? He rendered a little girl basically a vegetable and was given, instead of going to prison, was given 5 years probation. And he's been out on that charge. So I have no doubt when you look at these two, Jake Haro and Rebecca Haro, that he is the person that killed this young little boy. I have no doubt that he's the one. Is the mother an enabler? Is the mother part of this? 100%. And they're both going to be charged because she's lying. She's making up that story about a kidnapping. So then she's complicit in the murder of this little boy. But this guy is an absolute dirtbag, Jake Haro, going out with the police under the guise that you're going to help them find the body of this little boy, and then really just taking them on a wild goose chase, not helping them, perhaps the boy was never dumped at that location. So what is the point of doing that? Well, you're trying to create doubt, and you're trying to create doubt that you are the perpetrator here. And I wouldn't be surprised if he is trying to pin it on his wife, Rebecca, who also is no good here either, because she's lying about the circumstances of her young little 7-month-old boy's demise.
It's just the authorities taking him out there for a photo op so that they can show it to Rebecca and say, look what Jake's doing. You better talk fast and get to the trough first. In any case, do we have any idea what Rebecca has been doing while Jake's been out in the desert?
So I think you bring up a few interesting points with that because, yeah, we saw him out there and it could be a number of things. But what it appears to me is it appears that he's trying to lead them as to where he might have last saw the body, where they might have disposed of it. But what's interesting about that is when you look at Rebecca, she is still doubling, tripling down on the story that she wants her baby back. She's not giving up hope, and that she's still saying that he's kidnapped. So what's interesting about this is,
it's so ridiculous that Rebecca is sticking to that story because they have actual evidence that it's not true. And what's the best evidence you could possibly have? Well, eyewitnesses, video. Like, she's not seen at the football game prior to going to the Big Five, the store that she allegedly went to. She's not seen with the baby. The baby was not at the football game. And he was not in the parking lot where she says the alleged kidnapping attempt took place. So she's still staying with that story, even though it's clear that she's lying. And then when you watch her interviews, I've never seen a worse acting performance in my life. And we've seen some bad ones, right? Stefan Stearns, Jennifer Soto, the parents of Stefan Stearns. We've seen some really poor acting jobs here. Sincere and Classic, two boys that were also missing a couple of years ago in California. Their parents gave a horrific demonstration of acting, and they also they were convicted for killing those two boys, and their bodies were never recovered. So I believe, and when we talk about the science and art of investigation, I believe that there is enough circumstantial evidence that investigators have to convict these two of the murder of this young boy. And don't forget, when a case like this goes to trial and jurors hear and watch the videos of them lying, they really take that into consideration. And even though, again, I will always underline the fact that we would love to recover the body of Emmanuel or the remains, because if he's been out in the elements for 3 weeks or more, The body will be severely decomposed and perhaps animal activity. We don't know what is even left. And according to Brian Enton reported yesterday that an undercover in jail was told by Jake Haro that Jake said he killed the young boy and gave a date and said he threw him in the garbage pail. Excellent guy, huh? Real good guy. Absolute 100% dirtbag this guy is. Let's go back to News Nation.
That it appears, at least from outsiders' perspective, that they're not on the same page. And the biggest reason I say that is because if you go back to that 2023 conviction and the willful child cruelty from 2018, he threw his then wife, Vanessa, under the bus trying to blame her. And it almost seems like history might be repeating itself.
Wow. I wonder if Rebecca's aware of that, you know, given the fact that she's in a jail jumpsuit giving interviews saying, everybody keep helping me find my baby. It just sort of defies logic. And, you know, does it tie?
You know, I think that one of the things we can't ignore also is that here we have Rebecca on the screen with her mugshot with 2 black eyes. Where do you think she got those 2 black eyes? Do you think it's from the man on the left of this thumbnail? You bet it is. You bet. So she's also an abused woman, right? So will she not use that as a defense, that as why she was complicit in this is because she was afraid, she was beaten, she was abused? I think that's coming very soon. So her lies probably will disappear once she gets an assigned attorney. Apparently, they both can't have a legal aid attorney. So one will get a legal aid attorney. And in New York, they called it 18B, where a private attorney gets paid by the state to represent the defendant that's indigent. So once they separate and have different attorneys, you'll see their stories become a little bit different. And maybe one will point the finger at the other, but not right now.
Edgar changed his stripes. Okay. Then the other big thing today is that they have written in the court documents, you know, you get the on or about language. Well, these documents for these 2 defendants suggest that the killing of baby Emmanuel could have been as early as August 5th. Any idea why that date? What is it specifically about that date, 9 days earlier than when Rebecca called police saying, a stranger took my baby?
So I was actually surprised to see the August 5th to August 14th date, because from what I've heard, and I guess this is unconfirmed, is that nobody has seen that baby in a month at least, which means you're pushing it back into sometime in July. My best guess is that they probably had to come up with some kind of story. And again, this is my best conclusion to this, that they had to come up with some story that maybe somebody was asking about the baby. And since Emmanuel was not able to be produced because he's gone, they had to come up with this elaborate story. And that's what they decided to go with kidnapping. That's all I can think of that would make sense.
Did anybody hear what was going on, or at least was anybody within earshot and able to report out what Jake was saying roadside when he was out there with the Riverside County Sheriff's Department deputies?
No, I haven't heard any.
You know, I think that the whole story of Jake taking them out to search for the baby along the highway is a diversion. It's absolutely there's no truth in fact. He's trying to divert attention from it. So how are we going to build a case against them? Well, guess what? The police understand how to investigate things like this. What are the first things they probably took for them? Their cell phones, right? So they do a search warrant on both their cell phones. The answer could be in their cell phones: text messages, emails, phone calls, right? When was the last time they referred to Emmanuel in a text message? Perhaps signs of abuse from Jake toward Rebecca here, because we know Jake is a child abuser. He was on probation, rendered a little girl basically a vegetable. And so what are we arguing over? What is what is the whole reason that we're thinking this is a big mystery? It's not. Now it is up to the police to build this case, which they undoubtedly will do. They will have a strong case with or without finding young Emmanuel's body. This is from Law and Crime.
To believe that Emmanuel Haro was killed. Rebecca and Jake Haro, the parents, first allegedly made up a story that went viral, that Rebecca was attacked in the parking lot of a strip mall and young Emmanuel was taken. They made their plea for help on television, but detectives say it was all a lie. And while Jake was seen with detectives who are searching for his son's remains, Rebecca is sticking to her story. How did the story that she told on TV compare to what you heard in jail?
It was the same. She said she was attacked by a kidnapper.
I spoke with the reporter who interviewed Rebecca Haro in jail. What stood out to him is she appears to be standing her ground, saying she is the victim of an assault and that her boy was kidnapped, as the biggest question still remains unanswered, and that is, where is Emmanuel Haro? We're on the case presented by Law and Crime. I'm Chris Stewart.
So again, she can stay with this story, but guess what? There's evidence showing that she's lying. There's evidence showing that family members haven't seen this little boy, and some of them said a month. So when was the actual date when little Emmanuel here that you see in the thumbnail, when was the actual date that he went missing? So we don't know. We don't know when he actually went missing. Just the fact that family members haven't seen him in a long time, right? So we don't know the actual date, but we know that the police have lots of evidence that'll build a circumstantial case against this couple. This is from KTLA.
Emmanuel Haro appear in court for the first time today as they are formally charged with murder.
Authorities say the couple fabricated the story about their baby's kidnapping and say the little boy is presumed dead. KTLA's Jillian Smuckler live at the courthouse with today's proceedings. Jillian.
Hi, guys. Yeah, so the parents charged with murdering their 7-month-old baby, they appeared in court for the first time today. And this is new court documents are giving us some insight into when investigators believe Emmanuel Haro could have been killed. They say that could have happened 9 days before his mother reported him missing. And that's sparking new concerns tonight as that search for baby Emmanuel continues. An eventful day in Riverside as Rebecca and Jake Haro make their first appearance in court. The couple is charged with killing their 7-month-old baby, Emmanuel, and filing a false police report. These charges carry a minimum sentence of life in prison without the possibility of parole. But KTLA legal analyst Allison Treasel says the murder with malice charge makes the couple eligible for the death penalty.
It's situations where there's torture or extreme cruelty or something of that nature that would qualify for the enhancement of the malice charge.
But we're going to have to wait a bit longer to find out what prosecutors will be pushing for. The parents appeared in court for less than 5 minutes today, each showing up without their own attorneys.
Initially, we received word that one or both would have private counsel. It appears that neither have private counsel. We cannot represent both.
They say they're hopeful they'll have a new attorney picked out by later next week. We spoke with one man about what he noticed watching the couple sit handcuffed in that courtroom.
The presence it felt disgusting in there. It felt like it felt different. You didn't feel like safe or anything.
While it didn't last long, dozens of people showed up today to show their support for the 7-month-old baby whose body still hasn't been found.
I didn't get an opportunity to be a mom, but the minute I saw the minute I saw him, my gut, I just knew that something happened.
It pissed me off. I'm a mom of a 13-year-old, and I would never think of harming her in any type of way like these pieces did.
My husband knows, and everybody knows, I have been night and day thinking about this child and praying that he is found.
These newly filed charges come nearly 2 weeks after Emmanuel was first reported missing, sparking a desperate search to find him. The good news is we are expecting to get an update on the case and the search for 7-month-old Emmanuel Haro. The district attorney's office and the county sheriff's office, they're holding a joint press conference tomorrow morning, and they're expected to give us a lot more information on the case. I know a lot of people are eager to hear from them. We were hoping that that would happen earlier today with that arraignment, but of course, with that being pushed back to next Thursday, we have to wait a little bit longer.
So, folks, we've seen these cases before. We've seen many cases like this. And I think unless they can pinpoint a location through the use of cell phone technology, through the use of both Jake and Rebecca's cell phone, if we can pinpoint it through a cell site, we may never find the remains of young Emmanuel. So it's really absolutely horrific. Folks, FanDuel is the new sponsor of Police Off the Cuff Real Crime Stories, the Believe Network. If you want to place a bet, you can go on the FanDuel website. But now they are the sponsor of the Police Off the Cuff podcast, and they are on the Believe Network. So this, again, is an absolutely horrific story. And the search will continue, but I keep saying to everyone that there's no doubt that the police will have a case. They will have a case because it's a circumstantial case, but it'll be a strong enough case to arrest these two and prosecute these two. And many things could happen. This guy, Jake, on the left, Jake Haro, is an absolute dirtbag, and perhaps, and this all depends on the evidence that the San Bernardino police have against this couple, might they flip Rebecca against Jake, or will they be satisfied with charging both of them and come up with evidence that can get them both convicted? That's what I think the goal would be to get enough evidence to convict both of them. But if they need to, they could flip whoever is the least complicit in this. And I believe probably the killer, the murderer of this young little boy, 7 months old, is the father, Jake. And I'm saying that because he has a history of child abuse and shouldn't have even been around kids. He was on probation. Someone said to me, "Oh, how can you prevent him from?" Well, as a condition of his probation, that he not be allowed to be. But apparently no one thought of that, because here he is, round 2. And this time he killed a young little boy, his son. We believe he killed us. He's being charged with that. And so is his wife, Rebecca. And it appears from looking at her that she is an abused woman, and he's, guess what? He's probably the abuser of his wife as well as his little son. This is a horrific case, as horrific as it gets. Folks, if you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe button, give us a thumbs up, hit the like button, share us with your friends and family, make lots of comments on this case, because there's a lot of people out there that have strong feelings in regards to this case, as I do. And so, again, hit the subscribe, share us, and make lots of comments. Folks, we're going to stay with this story as it moves forward. I'm Bill Cannon from Police Off the Cuff Real Crime Stories. Have a great day, everyone, and God bless.
One episode just ain't enough.